Welcome to Chalk Talk. I'm Chris Love.
And I'm Jane Mackey.
Chalk Talk is presented by U.S. Sailing. U.S. Sailing offers a very special college sailing membership for college sailors. 4 years of the full benefits of a regular membership for a fraction of the cost. Get all the details and sign up for yourself at racing.ussailing.org/college.
Moving into this weekend's review, Yale wins the Marciano Freeze over BC, followed by that deep team that we always talk about, Stanford. Now the Charles keeps things interesting with a building breeze on Sunday and lots of capsizes, which must have made it very interesting for these teams on their final round robins.
Thanks to Tufts coach Ken Legler for the photos, who shared them on the condition that I correct something I said a few weeks ago. The Tufts team did not get sick from camping in cold weather on spring break. They spread a virus in the van rides both southbound and northbound. During the camping trip, they were out enjoying fresh air and the biggest campfire possible with 2 chainsaws.
Yale actually steals the show down at the BU Ladies President's Trophy. Yale wins over Tufts by 66 points.
A couple of team race qualifiers were sailed this weekend. The Mesa qualifier for the Prosser Trophy was sailed up at Hobart and William Smith in some pretty frigid conditions. Just like Chris predicted, St. Mary's steps their game up late in the season, actually tying G-Town for the win, but losing the tiebreaker. And that third spot that we weren't too sure about goes to the Naval Academy this weekend, so congrats to the midshipmen getting it done. Then over on the West Coast, the unorthodox Friday evening team-style races at the Patagonia PCCSCC thing going on over there. No surprise, Stanford goes undefeated, gets a spot, and Hawaii finishes second with a 7-3 record, so we'll see those guys down in Florida.
And a bunch of co-ed championships, starting right off with the Patagonia PCCSC co-ed championship. San Diego Yacht Club gets 11 races off on the weekend, despite its location being a half hour from the course, shifting winds due to the sea breeze coming in, and sailing at the mercy of the cruise ships. Not surprising here, Stanford takes the win with Mateo Vargas and Tally Buckstaff making a mockery out of B Division, taking 8 race wins, 2 second-place finishes, and a 5th. UCSB takes second place with an all-freshman staff, and then Hawaii just 1 point back in third. Up to the northwest, UW, that's University of Washington, and Sail Sand Point, the host for the co-ed championship there, very efficient, getting through 2 full boat rotations in just a single day. They get to go home a day early. The home team takes the win with Western Washington getting that second spot to co-ed semifinals. USF ran the SESA co-ed dinghy champs at the Magnuson Marina Hotel, site of the Spring Nationals. Cougars claimed the victory with USF, Eckerd, Florida, Miami, and Georgia Tech taking the other spots. Now, I'm having trouble finding any archived information about the Georgia Tech sailing team, but I'm pretty sure this will be the Ramblin' Wreck's first trip to the postseason. Congratulations. And finally, we've got the SESA co-ed champs sailed at Texas A&M Galveston, warm weather returning to Texas. The home team takes the win, followed by Texas A&M and Tulane picking up the third spot.
Sail One Design Team Race rankings are out today, so check them out at sail1design.com.
Turning to the upcoming weekend, we've got 5 more conference championships. Starting it off in the Midwest, Wisconsin hosting the co-ed champs, but they had to move the venue. The home lake is still frozen, so they're headed over to the Columbia Yacht Club in Chicago. Let me kick it off here. We've got 6 spots to national semifinals. I'm liking Michigan after a strong year so far. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Northwestern, UW, Milwaukee, and that last spot is so tough, but I'm thinking maybe Purdue.
Yeah, it's gonna be a cold one. I like the Badgers, the Wolverines, then the Golden Gophers just ahead of the Wildcats, then the Panthers, and last but not least, the Dragons.
I've never heard anything like that before. I'm going by the record from 2012 final rankings for this district, and my picks are Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, Northwestern, Purdue, and Michigan State. So moving on to NISA Co-Ed Champs, there are 8 spots up for grab here at Brown this weekend. And interesting to note is that NISA holds 10 out of the top 15 teams in the current rankings. So I'm going to go with Yale, Brown, Boston College, Roger Williams, Tufts, MIT, Dartmouth, and Harvard, sticking true to the rankings as they stand right now.
Boy, it's tough to be in NISA. I'm looking at kind of the same thing. At the top, I think that Brown might just get it done at home, but Yale's going to be there, we know. BC, Roger Williams, Tufts, MIT. I'm banking on the UVM Catamounts having a big weekend here and getting in under that threshold. Dartmouth maybe taking that last spot. Harvard and Connecticut going to be so close, but like I said, tough time to be in NISA.
I also like the Brown Bears to beat out Yale, and then the Dodge in third, just ahead of BC, then MIT, Tufts, Dartmouth, and Harvard. U.S. Naval Academy is going to host the Mesa Co-Ed Champs this weekend. Who do you guys like down there?
Now, I don't know what is going on with Zeke, but my picks for this regatta are Georgetown, St. Mary's, Navy, Hobart, ODU, SUNY, Fordham, and Washington College.
Jane, I'm looking at just about the same exact thing that you got. I think there's a pretty good dividing line there after Fordham.
I like you guys most of the way through, but I think UVA is going to sneak into that last spot with some young talent.
All right, and then we've got a team race championship at SASA hosted by Eckerd. Where are we thinking here?
Charleston and USF, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, Jane, I agree with you. Charleston, USF, hands down.
Agree wholeheartedly, and I'm not 100%, but I don't think that the Cougars have lost a race at this event in the last 2 or 3 years, so look for them to run away with the show once again.
Well, it's late Wednesday night. I'm just finishing up the edit of Chalk Talk, and I've just gotten word. It looks like SASA Champs is in danger of not having 5 teams at their championship this weekend. Jacksonville, Miami, and Florida were all supposed to go but aren't going to make it. And that means that SASA is going to lose that second berth. Only the top team will advance to nationals. CISA will pick up an additional berth that they'll be competing for in 2 weeks at their team race champs.
So at the CISA Women's Champs this weekend, 1 team will go straight through to the National Championships and 1 team will qualify for semi-finals. This regatta will be sailed at Tamig, and I'm told by an insider that Tamig could potentially upset the top 2 teams going into this regatta. But I'm not going to roll the dice on this one. I am not going to pick Tamig. I'm going to go with Tulane and Texas.
Jane, I just love the way you say Tamig. I have to agree with you here. Tulane and Texas.
Yes, Tulane and Texas. They have the best women's teams.
So we had the opportunity this week to catch up with some recent college sailing graduates who have moved on to other things now, doing some racing throughout the world, some Olympic class sailing, some bigger keelboat stuff like at the Key West Race Weeks and Charleston Race Weeks of the world. So we sat down with some of them and got their take on how college sailing has prepared them for life after.
We are really happy to have with us today 2 members of the U.S. sailing team Sperry Topsider, 470 sailors Annie Haeger and Briana Provancha. How's it going, guys?
Going well.
A lot of people kind of hate on college sailing and say that maybe it doesn't prepare you to the utmost as far as tuning complicated boats like a 470. But what would you guys say you did get out of college sailing that you've been able to translate into your Olympic campaign?
There's a lot of things. I think the number one thing that comes to the top of my head is the medal racing. There's so many tactics that apply during that, and just everything you learn in college sailing can be applied during medal racing. Some other things I think that apply, obviously, it's just sailboat racing in general, so you learn tactics, you learn all sorts of stuff from there. And also communication with your crew. Briana and I were lucky enough to go to school together, so we have kind of special bond there as well. But for those who hate on college sailing, I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
If I could chime in, I think something for me that I learned too is in junior sailing, you don't sail that often. You sail maybe 3 days a week or just regattas. And college sailing, you're sailing 6 days a week in a season for 3 or 4 months at a time, and it can get pretty monotonous. Your days, you can go on the water and sometimes feel like you aren't making progress or like you haven't accomplished something. And what I learned in college was how to make the most of every day, and kind of like an approach to get better at sailing, and just to be better planning your training. And I think that has really helped, especially in a boat like a 470 that's super complicated and very overwhelming in the beginning. It helps to simplify things.
So you definitely mentioned there's definitely huge advantages coming from college sailing and some slight disadvantages. Now that you've already been through college sailing, you're on your Olympic campaign, would you say that the benefits would outweigh things that you may have missed? And if you were going to start over with an Olympic gold in mind, would you still have done your 4 years normal college sailing?
Hands down. Absolutely. Can't really speak for Annie, but I think I definitely thought about taking time off. I did take some time off to do that, and I saw the benefits of both. And just in terms of the resources that you have at a college, it teaches you to be an athlete. And that's a really hard thing in the sport of sailing, because a lot of sailors don't believe that they're athletes. And once you can learn how to take care of your body and how to take care of your mind and learn about the gym and learn about how to utilize the resources that you're given to you, you'll be able to succeed. And I think that's a really big thing.
When you do finish with your 470 sailing, are there any other areas of the sport that you see yourself getting into?
Yes. Don't know where, don't know when. I mean, I love the sport. I'm going to be doing it for my entire life. I don't really know where my path's going to take me after, but I cannot see myself stepping away from the sport in any way, shape, or form.
One thing I've always imagined being on these Olympic campaigns, especially in a team like you guys are, is like the close quarters and constantly being around each other. And I would imagine that those long van rides and stinky hotel rooms you got to deal with in college sailing may have prepared you a little bit for that. But how does it compare? You guys fight a lot? You guys ever at each other's throats? How's that work out?
I mean, we kind of compare ourselves to, like, sisters at this point. Yeah. We're going to have some off days. We're going to need some space in a while, but something that we've been working on that's been really effective so far is taking space when you need it.
Yeah.
And I think the boys in college sailing really, prepared me for the stank that the sailing clothes.
I also wanted to know, you guys have other college sailors on your circuit as well. How is that? Are there still rivalries? Do you help each other out?
I mean, I think it's been so much fun it was kind of a different dynamic, honestly, because, for instance, Sydney and I were kind of competing head-to-head with each other a little bit in college sailing stuff. And now it's a team atmosphere. It's almost like we're on the same, college sailing team, working together to make everyone better. And, I mean, we had a blast. We had Sara Leehan this last regatta, and we couldn't stop laughing. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Annie, Haeger, Briana, Provancha, thanks so much for joining us from across the pond, and good luck in your upcoming events, and congrats again on a great finish in Palma.
Thank you. Much, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So we are very lucky to be sitting with the Olympian, Sara Leehan, who has been up to very interesting things in her time outside of college sailing. Sara, what are you up to at the moment?
Well, hi Jane, nice to see you again. I am actually currently in the Canary Islands working on a tryout with the women's Volvo team. SCA has sponsored a very professional program, and we are going sailing, doing our first overnight later this week, and all sorts of crazy things.
Coming out of college sailing at Yale, traveling the world, and now finding yourself here, what has that been like, seeing all these different paths in the sport of sailing?
I count myself among one of the luckiest people to have been a lot of the times in the right place at the right time, but really just being able to take advantage of a lot of opportunities that have come my way. As you know, I just finished a regatta last week in Spain, where I sailed 470 with Sydney Bolger from Georgetown. A couple other college sailors there, Haeger, Provancha, and it's just been incredible to be living this life and just being able to take advantage of all of these incredible things that have come my way.
I know you have experience with laser radials before and during college, but the 470 is kind of a different beast. Tell us about learning that whole other part of the game that maybe isn't part of college sailing.
Yeah, there's a lot about 470s that are not involved in college sailing. I myself was really, really lucky to team up with Amanda Clark, who also did college sailing, graduated from Conn College in 2003, I think. I could be wrong about that. But she had been campaigning for 70s for a very long time and really fast-tracked my learning curve to understanding everything about, tuning and technique and, just the day-to-day maintenance of a finicky little boat like the 470. So I've been extraordinarily lucky in that sense to have great guides and mentors along the way.
Aside from a lot of luck in partnering up with people and being in the right place at the right time, do you think that college sailing has helped you in any particular ways get to where you are?
Without a doubt. The technique and just the game that is college sailing forces you to be not obsessed with details, but you can see when you make a mistake, no matter how small that mistake is. You're in very close quarters with 18 other boats, and you see it right away. And that level of exacting precision applies to all aspects of sailing. I was also really fortunate to have great leadership from our college coach at Yale, Zach Leonard, who supported my Olympic sailing and my crazy ideas. And actually, he got to coach us in the 470 for a little bit, which was great.
I can certainly see the transition to 470s. But what about this experience that you're in now, driving and crewing on a 70-footer? Are you able to take any lessons from college sailing?
It's really funny. I'm on my second day on the Volvo, and I don't know if this is where I'm going to wind up going, but it was just absolutely absurd to be handed the wheel of a Volvo 70 and said, "Here you go, have fun." And certainly, without a doubt, you are on this 70-foot carbon machine, and it's oversimplifying, but it does kind of feel like an FJ sometimes. It's ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But it's a gigantic dinghy, and it behaves the same way on a huge scale. But the skills that I learned driving in college have been immediately applicable. The way just the way that you drive a boat through the water is the same across all different platforms of boats. And you really hone those skills. You sail every day, 6 days a week. You get a lot better at it.
I feel like I may already know the answer, but we had it in our other interview, so we should ask you as well. Looking back at the path you took, if you could do it all over again, would you change anything?
Absolutely not. My college experience, and particularly my college sailing experience, was everything I could have hoped for. I wish I could do it again and again and again and do more things each time, but I would never change the road that I took. The friendships that I formed and the understanding of what it means to be a part of a team are lessons that I will never let go. And I travel the world, and it's kind of a joke on the circuit that I'm never without some sort of Yale clothing or hat or whatever it may be. Very, very proud of where I came from and what I represent coming from college sailing.
Well, Sara, thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule, and best of luck with your Volvo trial.
Thank you, Chris. It's been great talking to you guys.
So we're being joined now by one of the coaches at the U.S. Naval Academy, Brendan Healy, who's a recent graduate from the College of Charleston and has been doing some super fun keelboat racing in the new J70 class. He did Key West with a handsome bunch, and he's going to do Charleston. So, Brendan, talk to us a little bit about your transition from college sailing now to doing some keelboat stuff, specifically the J70.
I I wouldn't really say that I'm a recent grad. I'm pretty washed up at this point, I think. I don't know. Probably haven't done a whole ton of keelboat racing since college, I guess. I've done a bit of Meldas 24 sailing and J22 sailing and J24 sailing, but not an extensive amount of big keelboat sailing, really, you know.
So how'd you figure out how to make the J70 go so fast so quickly?
A lot of wizardry. Just a lot of research. I think like a lot of reading really is big. I think whenever you're getting into like a new keelboat like that, the J70 is a little unique because the boat's so new that nobody really knows exactly how to sail the boat. So I think doing as much research as you can before stepping into the boat is definitely it helps you out in the long run, you know. Read a lot of articles, talked to a lot of people about, who had sailed the boat at the New York Yacht Club Challenge. They sailed it. I believe you coached that, did you?
I did.
Oh, big man before I got there. And then just have an open mind, too. Go out and test some things and see if it works. Two-boat testing is obviously preferably, but we obviously didn't do that. But just really, and then just asking whoever's driving the boat how the boat feels under different settings.
So you're a coach now. Tell us about that.
Oh, it's marvelous. Coach the future ladies and gentlemen of America. They're great. Coach has been great. Been working with the U.S. Naval Academy for 3 years now. Work with a lot of really good kids. And they're all great kids. They're all really good sailors in their own right. And the bummer for them is when they come out of the academy, they don't really have a whole lot of chance to sail really in the future because they're kind of involved in their Navy careers. But so it's cool. I feel like they have a little bit more desire in their 4 years of college sailing to do exceptionally well because after they get out of school, the opportunities are a little limited for them.
So since you are a college sailing coach, whenever you're doing this new sport boat, keelboat racing that you're doing, are you taking anything from that and trying to offer that to your kids on ways to prepare them for things outside of college sailing?
I think actually it's funny, you learn like at these big boat regattas things that you wouldn't necessarily learn just in college sailing. Like down in Key West, I've learned a lot about sail shape. A lot about just like matching your sail shapes for each sail, your main and your jib, It sounds silly, but it wouldn't, it's a concept I never really thought about in college sailing is like, for example, matching leach profiles. So I came back from Key West and put a lot of effort into my kids for just sailing dinghies and trying to match the leach profiles. So that was just one example, but I think you learn a lot at each one of these individual events in keelboats that you don't necessarily get a chance to learn in dinghies because you're stressing about the minor aspects, but it's a much bigger sail plan and a tweakier boat.
Do you think that your team finds that useful and it inspires them to think about keeping on going with sailing in their future?
Yeah, I do. I think I think it's always encouraging to a college sailor for their coach to be actively in the game, and it's cool for those guys, I think, to see their coaches are still doing it, still doing well at it. So I think it certainly inspires a lot of those guys. A lot of our guys are kind of into the match racing thing. They kind of like that. So I think, and our program has a big boat team. We're kind of a unique program in the fact that we do have a large keelboat team. So I think that definitely inspires them that there is an avenue down the road aside from just dinghies. And I think it certainly shows that to them.
All right, Brendan, well, thanks for checking in with us and sharing your experience. Good luck in the rest of the season with your Navy guys, and good luck sailing the J70.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much to all of our guests and our contributors this week. That's it for Chalk Talk.
Good luck to everyone sailing this weekend.
Peace.